And it's actually segues right into the next section. They talk about cell phones and devices. And what's actually interesting with all this is that as of May 2012, CNN reports that the tide has turned. There's more smartphones, more smart devices than traditional, I forget the term, but dumb phones. A smartphone means something that can access the web, that, it's a video camera, it's a recording device, it's web accessible, you can send pictures, messages, it's amazing all the things you can do, and again, it goes back to this Jetson technology that we're just used to. But in that, none of these devices in themselves are bad. It's how you use them. It's anything, it's a tool. Tools are great, depending on the purpose. But there is a huge responsibility that comes with all of these. And that's where we have to talk to our kids. That's where, when you talk about your kids sneaking these things, put them like a metal detector inside your house or something, like in the entrance. Nothing that extreme, but man, you have to. I've talked to so many parents say, yeah, their friend let them borrow, their friend will give, and man, search for backpacks. It's that important, I'll simply say. Because cell phones are the most common way teens are viewing pornography. That's hands down, that's a statistic. They quiz kids, they're finding what ages they're viewing, and how do they do it, and it's right here. This, you could hide it anywhere. That's true, it's tiny, it's totally accessible. And there's all types of apps and browsers specifically for viewing pornography. Hiding folders, having locked folders, hiding things, and with this, it's at your fingertips 24/7. That's a really tough thing. And again, with all this like Jetson technology I keep referring to, back then it was amazing. You would see who you're talking to. It's like, whoa, but we can do that now. And with that comes the whole trend of sexting. Talking dirty via text message, sending pictures, sending messages, all these different things. And I'm not here to say kids are horrible, because as bad as it is, if I had this technology as a teenager, I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, that's terrible. I probably would have done it. I think many people in this room as teenagers, if you could simply get a hold of your friend at any time, your boyfriend or girlfriend, send me a picture, you send a picture. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that, the Bible says it's like we're all sinners. This stuff is appealing. I totally get it. I understand where these kids are coming from. So it's like, man, as parents, we have to take the initiative, because there's all these companies taking advantage of this. I've got some articles. I sat at a Walmart and just grabbed like 50 teen magazines. And I probably looked like a real creep. I can be the first to admit it. And I was just going throughout like Girls Life and Boys Life and Teen this and that. And I'm like, oh man. But I had like a few Mustang magazines. And I went to the outdoor department with all like patio furniture. And I just spread out. And I was taking photos with my cell phone. And this is some of the stuff I found. This is Wired magazine. This is to teens, kind of young adults, Star Wars, all this stuff. All this stuff's from March. This was an article. It's all about 6 apps in order to sex. And I want you to look at it. It's obvious. I've had a few teens try to defend, like, no, that's not what everyone's doing. It's fun. You make a face, and they make a face, and ha ha. It's like, all right, you're the one good kid using this stuff. It's talking about these 6 different apps here at the bottom: Snapchat, Wicker, Burnos, whatever. And the whole idea is that you send a message, and then the evidence is destroyed. You set the timer, and whoa, here's the picture. 3, 2, 1. There it goes. The whole implication is you're doing things and leaving no trail. There's no good purpose for that. And the problem is, it doesn't take a genius to think, here comes a picture, here's my other phone. Click. That's what kids are doing. So this is Wired. This is Wired magazine. They're basically telling you the best ones to use and stuff like that. This is Girls Life. This is actually more of a negative than that. I'll just let you read. Read where it says fact. it's portraying sexting in a more negative light. I will say that. But the fact that it opens up, the opening sentence is, teen girls just like you are sexting, period. And then it talks about Wednesday, that plants a seed. What's sexting? What? It just, honestly, this, and all the things I've been preparing for this stuff's probably made me probably the most angry. We're close to. It's up there. No, Mark, just...
No, I was going to say, I'm going to keep it up with bullying, cyberbullying, and a large percentage of the girls who committed suicide was because of their first or second attempt at sexting. And the image being spread around.
That is a huge thing. And this brings us to Snapchat. Like I said, this because I've worked with this material and had it on my desktop. I've been ticked off every time I see this stupid thing. This is a shot I took from the actual app store. This is how they're selling it. There are these these are minors, these girls. And hey, they're having fun, or it looks like a carnival or something, kind of, whatever. But this is what is, check out my arrows, you'll see. You control how long your friend can view a message. Simply set the timer up to 10 seconds and send. So they're trying to portray it as something innocent, we're having fun. This is what people are using it for. Look at number 33 and number 6.
You gotta read.
Okay, I'm sorry. It simply says, looking for fun and flirty men, preferably dirty. Don't be a stranger. And then their signature. Number 6 says, he's a 16-year-old male. Boys or girls, dirty or clean. I prefer dirty and boys. Let's just have fun, and then the contact info. So this is being targeted at kids. Everything about this says, this is what it's for. It's for sending and receiving sexually explicit pictures. And the problem is, I'm the youth pastor here, but I'm also Air Force Reserves. I work with a bunch of guys, and they're, about 18, 19 to 25, somewhere in there. These guys, at any given time, are just scrolling through their phones, looking at all these naked pictures of past girlfriends. And they're showing them off to each other. Oh man, send me that one to it. And it's like their little Rolodex of conquest, and it's at their fingertips anytime. It's permanent. Those images don't go away when you break up with somebody. And it's really sickening that they're creating this stuff for this sole intention. And these stupid little sites make people feel like, we're safe, and they're not. Even best case scenario, say a young boy, young girl are sexting each other, and the images are disappearing as they intended, that's still out there. It's still out there in a sense. Who's to say this site isn't keeping collection of every single picture that goes through? It's not far-fetched at all. These things really bother me, I'll be honest. And again, this is the easy answer. There's smartphones, but as been addressed, you may not purchase it for your kid, but they may get a hold of it. There's so much we can do, but I wanted to show you this. I want to talk about why, if your kids come here, I have a really strict no smartphone mission trip policy. And it all comes down to, I grew up doing lots of missions trips, and half the fun was the trip. We had the Discman, where you could hold it just perfect, balance it, otherwise it'd skip. And the old school Walkman, where you rewound it. And so we had this stuff, not anything like a smartphone, but if, like my youth pastor made that the rule, he said, none of those stuff on the trip. None of that stuff on the trip. And we're like, wow, that's terrible. Well, you actually get to know the people that you're in the van with for hours and hours on end. That's huge. That's half the fun, really. And the problem is, I went on a mission trip in junior high. I was one of the younger kids with a bunch of high school kids. One guy had an Adam Sandler comedy CD, and I was kind of familiar with SNL and Adam Sandler. I was like, this would be great. And it was like the most crude, explicit thing I'd ever heard. And it opened up all kinds of ideas to me that weren't there otherwise. I had a Christian summer camp. Just one jerk older kid, just screwing it up for everybody, robbing all these other kids of their innocence, and we're all, I don't get it. And I actually even heard a story of a young man talking about similar experience. Christian guy, raised in a very godly home, never seen pornography, never exposed to any sin. He goes on a Christian Boy Scout trip, you know, the Christian group that met at his church. And on that trip, one of his friends, hey, check this out. I don't know if it's a magazine. I don't know what it was. Showed him a single image of porn. And for him, it was just the right time. Everything clicked. He's like, man, I'm stoked. After that, I was waiting for like my family to go to bed. I made up at like 2 a.m. searching this stuff. And it only took one time. And that's scary. It's so scary. But that's, on these missions trips, I don't want smartphones, period. For those reasons. Also, kids can post their location. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm at the mall. And they think it's cool, their friends think it's cool. People who became their friends through whatever, they could be stalking them. If we're in the middle, say we went to Jacksonville and passed, we're going to Panama City this year, I don't want weirdo people knowing where they are. I just don't. You as the parents need to know the church needs to be praying, but when we're at that campground, we're at that campground. That's it. Another thing, and this comes out to, we did a trip in my group, no smartphones, no tech, whatever. The other group's not the case. So these other groups were lined up at intervals at all the plugs. Like 15 kids, there's one, there's one, there's one. And it was so stupid. Like, I wanted to have like squirt gun, just spray their laptops, spray their water balloon, fire extinguisher, something dramatic. Because it was so stupid. I'm like, you guys came to camp, you were here for a week, we got the lake, we got this, and you're just... And beyond that, there's a risk of theft. These things are expensive. I mean, and then that actually came up because this other group, it was like kind of all the boys were in shared quarters. One of the kids comes, or his leader came to me, he's at the largest group. He said, I don't want to alert you, but we're missing an iPhone. I said, well, are you missing, or well, do you think it's taken? He said, well, I'm not sure, but... And I said, look, man, then do what you gotta do, but absolutely make sure that somebody doesn't have it, somebody didn't leave it somewhere. And if you tell me that's the case, then we'll get all these boys in the room and shake it down. My previous job was a case manager in prison, so I know how to do this stuff. Long story short, a few minutes later, guys said, yeah, we can't find it. Let's do it. I said, all right, all the boys in this room for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Just told them, guys, this thing's missing. It's going to turn up. We're not leaving until it does. And so nobody's playing games, nobody's doing anything. And it's like, all right, everyone dump your stuff. So everyone's dumping their stuff. All right, flip your mattresses. And like, I mean, it was hardcore. Because I was like, nobody's going to steal this thing. And, you know, we're playing the, if you took it, now's your one chance to put it out, no consequence. And I think it was you, and I mean, it got ugly. And then, of course, that group of kids are like, I left out the car. And I was like, all right. I'll be honest, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So, you know, everybody cleans up, and I apologize a few times. But that's the thing. I mean, these things are hundreds of dollars, and let's be honest, kids, you know, left it somewhere. And other kids are like, awesome, score. So it's a theft issue. But the biggest thing, the risk of privacy violation. Kids are sleeping, kids are showering, kids are in the bathroom, I walked in the bathroom seeing kids like over the stall, or like, oh, I filmed them peeing, and I'm like, give me a phone. And I gotta talk to parents, and I'm like, your kid shouldn't have this thing, period. Don't ever bring it to church. Because literally, you can film something, you can upload that to Facebook, to a number of those sites, and just like that, you brought a kid to church, they broke the law. And they have no concept of that. They don't. They're not mature enough to understand that. And so let's be honest, maybe your kid can be responsible. They understand it. That. Can you guarantee every kid? So I got 20 kids, 30 kids on a trip. Every one will have this. They're all in their own little world on the van, and they're just, you know, I guess they're all doing the right thing. I don't want them. It really is the case. It makes my life 10 times easier not having these things in youth functions. And the truth is, kids, this sucks, and you're mean, and you're a Nazi, blah, blah, blah. You have an iPhone? Yeah, I do have an iPhone. And I say, your parents will all have my numbers, I'll have my leaders' numbers. Call me 24/7, talk to your kids till the battery goes dead. I don't care. This is for me to send pictures to your parents, put on Facebook. We're in Haiti, I'm sending pictures. I'm like, look at the cool things your kids are doing. It was awesome. And parents, I said, call me. I made the data plan, whatever. Parents, use it to get a hold of your kids. Just do it through me, do it through my other leaders. I'm not trying to be controlling, it just makes my life so much easier. And the truth is, the kids say, after 4 or 5 days of, the shakes and withdrawal, not having their phone, they're like, you know what, I actually enjoyed it. Like, it was actually nice not having a phone. We'll say that. And I try to tell my guys, this is like a leash. I mean, it really is. They don't get it. But anyway, guys, please, when we're doing these things, keep those things at home as much as possible. All right, regarding, avert your eyes. Regarding all this stuff, I have another video.
That's a Kindle, right?
Yeah, it's a new Kindle Paperwhite.
I love to read at the beach, but
This is perfect at the beach. And with the built-in light, I can read anywhere, anytime.
done.
With your book?
Nope. I just bought a Kindle Paperwhite. We should celebrate.
My husband's bringing me a drink right now.
So is mine.
Basically, yeah, that's on TV, that's an internet commercial. The issue with that is young people are the highest consumers of new technology, e-readers. Me and Natalie are going through this, I said, I'll skip this rant, but I'm going to give it. I think e-readers are the stupidest thing in the world. Have a book. It's like, you can buy, like, say, a John Grisham book's like $30. The e-reader version's like $27. Yeah, it's dumb. If it was like $5, I'd get it. But anyway, e-readers, the issue with it, my issue with this, Kindle, they're creating this advertisement for a product. The truth is, it's the under 30 crowd that's buying this, but they're coupling it with their agenda. They're assuming that people will buy this product, share our views, and so we're going to combine this, and if you're in the market for an e-reader, you're like, hey, that's a bold advertisement, that's what I'm going for. I mean, we vote with our money. I just leave it at that. If that's how they want to advertise, they're free to do so. Statistically, gay rights, gay marriage, that is low among the American people. It just is. So that's how they're choosing to advertise. They're choosing to, alienate a lot of people, but that's on them. But it takes me to the idea of devices and screen time. The e-reader, the laptop, a cell phone, and like Fawn was saying, anything now. Game Boy is web accessible. Digital cameras are web accessible. Everything's web accessible. But the issue is, young kids are using them. We're using like digital babysitters that are fluent in them. Gosh, my girl's, 3 years old now, can just do anything on this. And I'll be honest, it is an awesome babysitter. When we're in church and they're about to have meltdowns, it's like, hey, look, here's a little cat. And it works. Or I'll do like the front-facing camera, and we're like, oh, you see you, and it does work. But you can't do it too much. It really is, because there's an issue of many scientists are doing studies to try and determine the effects of screen time, any device, on infants and toddlers. The concern is that in the first 3 years of life, the child's mind does the majority of its developing. And overstimulation of visual media can cause a negative effect on a child's mental development, attention span, and other senses. Let's see, who here can answer how many hours of television a day for children under 3 is recommended? 2, correct. Pretend that prize. Prize on the table. Natalie's like, you should bring candy bars. Like, we should. I forgot. Yeah. 2 hours a day for children under 3 is what's recommended. In that, it's educational. It's basically the opposite of what I'm about to show you. One second. Now, this is a kids program. I'm not going to show anything I know I keep talking about porn and stuff, but you're not going to see any of that. This is a kids show, and it is crazy. Count the number of scene changes.
To get wild.
Use wild charge!
Now, Ash and his friends must train harder and battle stronger
This battle belongs to me.
as they take on powerful
22, 28.
It wants to watch a man. That was. And how long? Approximately how long was that clip?
12 seconds.
How long?
30 seconds. 12,
15 seconds, 23 scene changes. A scene change every 0.66 of a second. Boom, 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 boom. And I tell you, a lot of commercials are filmed similarly. rapid scene change. The idea, if you look at things like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, it was actually slower than real life. They'd be in a crowded restaurant and only the waitress is moving and everyone else, it actually slowed down life. These new things are crazy. And they understand that it keeps kids' attention. And it directly, the idea of organic learning being that, I can bring in my youngest, she's under 2, a piece of candy, she sees it, she picks it up, she's feeling it, she's sticking it in her mouth, she's smelling it, she, hears the wrapper, all her senses are engaged. That's organic learning. That's how kids are really supposed to view the world and learn, and especially under 3. Television, simply visual and audible. But the rest of their senses just sit dormant. And like I said, that's where people are saying, wow, we think there's a link between ADHD, we think there's a link between ADD, between childhood obesity, between diabetes, between sleep disorders, aggressive behavior. A lot of this stuff, it kind of leads to that. And as you can see, there's tons of products that are meant so, this little kid's just running around with her iPad and pulls it out whenever she wants and entertains her. And you see it, you go to restaurants, people have the portable DVD player or the iPad, whatever. And it's like, I totally get it, it's hard going out with kids. But man, it's kind of a cop-out. I mean, we all know it. It is tough. In our times of being tired, being weak, we're like, but man, parenting is a constant battle, putting your own convenience on hold in order to teach your kids, in order to do what's right. And so, with all these things, you got to put a limit on that. And I'll get into more here shortly, but the way this relates to younger kids under 3, you get it. The teens, the tweens, their screen time is coming from devices. There's a new phenomenon of sleep texting. Has anyone heard about this? Yeah. And it literally is kids are sleeping with their phone in their hand or on a hard surface or some. I think the next clip, kids got on his head, maybe? I think I cut that one out. And when it vibrates, boo. And they will all night long text. And again, what always cracks me up is these text conversations, if person to person you were having that, it would be a minute long. Done. Versus, what you up to? Nothing, dog, got to go, all these little abbreviations. It's a really pointless form of communication. You know what I mean? But it's engaging to them. And kids are actually losing lots of sleep because they're doing this all night long, never getting to that REM pattern of sleep. Let me see. And really for teens, it's such a crucial time for development, physically, mentally. Let me ask, are your kids, your teens ever irritable, hard to wake up, grumpy, moody? You can't blame it all on technology. But researchers say they highly recommend 8 to 9 hours of uninterrupted sleep in a dark room. I mean, there's actually a lot to that. Natalie and I joke, but I have to have it totally dark. The alarm clock, turn it away. We got a modem or something in the room, and I have to put something on. Even our little smoke detector, I'm man, put a sticker. Look, I'm really bothered by light, and I always try to sleep. I had a basement growing up. I'd sleep in the basement. Turn off the light, can't see your hand in front of your face, and I loved it. That's how I got so tall, I'm pretty sure. I do sleep with the sleep mask because it's got to be dark. But they really say that the removal of devices and distractions can really have a strong improvement or quality and quantity of sleep that the kids are getting. I mean, it's a pretty easy thing it's easy to make that correlation. Regarding that, there's a point. One second. I don't know why certain slides it does that, but this actually there's a UK publication called Daily Mail, and they did a study about the lighting that actually comes from devices, from tablets, cell phones, even televisions like this. It's a specific wavelength of white light that's used to show any color. So even the orange, the blue on the screen, it's actually a white light and gets filtered. But the study shows that backlit LED displays suppress the body's sleep chemicals. And a 2-hour exposure to light from self-luminous electronic displays can suppress melatonin by 22%, says a specialist from the LRC's Light and Health program. Melatonin is the hormone produced by the pineal gland at night and under conditions of darkness. What it is, the technical term, when you sleep, the circadian rhythms, that's what occurs in your body. Let's see. It's the internal clock that regulates the 24-hour cycle of biological processes that occur in all humans. The term circadian comes from Latin word that literally means around the day. There are patterns of brainwave activity, hormone production, cell regeneration, and other biological activities linked to this 24-hour cycle. And that melatonin is the timing messenger signaling nighttime information throughout the body. Exposure to light, especially short wavelength light, LED, can slow or even cease melatonin production, interrupting sleep. It's very simple. And this graphic was from that study. They had teens using various devices, and then they actually had these specific goggles that would filter out certain wavelengths. And so no goggles, that's kind of the one group. And I'm not sure how exactly the goggles filter which wavelengths, but if you look on the girl, I guess it would be the left side of her face is looks like she has a pen behind her ear. You can barely see it in the first one, but that was a device used to register how much light was being absorbed. But what they did is they realized that the exposure of this light, it can actually stop the melatonin, which tells your body, hey, slow down, go to bed. And that's a huge, huge thing because there's lots of long-term risks. Again, we're hitting the same diseases, the same problems all the time. It talks about diabetes, obesity, certain forms of cancer are all implicated in sleep issues. And a lot of those things they found from people, think like third shift workers, people who are naturally kind of have their schedules reversed. They're seeing similar symptoms, though, in teens, from people who have had these third shift jobs for years. And that's pretty crazy. And so what comes from this is many scientists are saying we need to have a curfew for the devices. If your kid's bedtime is 10, curfew this at 8. If they want to go to bed whatever time, all television, all whatever, have it done by at least a couple hours prior to bedtime. And all I can say for myself, I kind of experimented, and I had trouble sleeping. I'd be the first to admit. I was like, I'm going to test this, and I would. I could read my physical Bible, but I read my backlit version of the Bible. And normally reading the Bible kind of calms me down, kind of helps me sleep. Reading this, it's like I can read. And even when I put it down, it's like I'm still not really tired. And so it makes me think of camping. When you go camping and say you don't have any technology, the sun's up, you're up. The sun goes down, man, and kids are always like, I wonder what time it is. You're like, who cares what time it is? It's dark time. There is, it's like, you naturally, your body just falls into that rhythm.
You wake up feeling good.
Yeah, you do. Well, I don't, because I'm longer than 10. Assuming I have a comfortable place to sleep, I don't get wet, because, hey, I don't talk about wet camping. But it's just, it's at home. I mean, I'd be the first to admit, it could be 11 o'clock at night, TV's on, computer's on, I'm not tired. And I have to go, all right, let's turn it all off, let's do what I'm teaching, things like that. But this nighttime stimulus from devices is what's keeping teens awake at night. And I have so many parents saying, my kid's up till like 3 a.m., or kids are like, I stay up till 5 a.m. every day, and blah, blah, blah. And they think it's cool. We're like, what are you doing? Well, I'm doing this, and like, and those that are mature, I say, look, nothing good is on that late. There just isn't. I'm sorry?
True.
Yeah. Anything productive occurs, about 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then, 7 to 10 is kind of adult prime time, but anything like post midnight, you're going to get in trouble. Anybody who's up online after midnight, they're up to no good. I mean, it's just the truth. And so when parents are like, oh, how do you get your kids to sleep? It's like, take away these things that are stimulus. They have a television in the room, take it away. These devices, it all goes back to, it's like, you know, again, these are my tips. You can take them, you can leave them, but the best way I see is just have one TV in a common area, have one computer in a common area, and have a curfew for your devices. By doing all that, you know, you're limiting that alone time with this device. You're limiting, you know, being up all night, texting, not sleeping. You're limiting just the temptation. That's huge. This is my last slide regarding sleep texting. There's all types of these little teen images, and you know, oh, that's so sweet, and you know, oh. But guys, it just comes down to sleep is so much more important than, you know, you get off the phone, no, you get off the phone, no, you get off the phone. They don't do that anymore. They'll just text all night long. Wake up, upset text, go back to sleep. I mean, this just says it right there. It's like they're not mature enough to to have a handle on this stuff. So my advice, the curfews. That would be awesome. All right. So if you could turn to page 4, the solutions. Matt, is it a noon pickup? 11:45, sweet. All right. Now we'll be picking up your lunch. Thanks, Matt. Yeah. All right. First one, simply monitor your child's internet activity. Friend requests, posts, text history, etc. That's like a full-time job, but I'm going to give you some solutions for that. Man, the easy answer is out there, but actually, that was my solution. It's nighttime texting. Zach Morrisville. All right, the second point, talk to your kids about what's inappropriate regarding jokes, humor, etc. Like I said, those Facebook pages saying, you know, when it's appropriate to punch a woman or something, it's like, ha ha ha, but it's not funny. And what we're going to learn is there's a huge trend in quote-unquote comedy that's violence towards women. And just a trend of violence towards women in general. And it's like, that pains my spirit. I mean, it really does. That's such a thing that's like, man, men aren't being taught to protect and to love. They're ha ha ha, punching women. Gosh. Anyway, talk to your kids about what they post, how it cannot be deleted. Review all the features offered by a device, parental controls, filtering apps, web access, etc. Most of the stuff you can find reviews. There's a handful of Christian sites, there's different things that, you know, if your kid wants the latest and greatest blank, somebody out there will kind of break it down for you. Limit screen time. Review the ratings on movies and video games. Password protect your computer, your Wi-Fi, your cable box, etc. And use the timers to disable internet from hour X to hour X. That's a huge thing, because I can't tell you how many kids tell me, yeah, you know, they're up all night long waiting to be alone with that device. And I'll just say, it really does do them, it helps them out to take away the temptation. They simply know, we all go to bed 10, 11, internet's out from 11 till 8 a.m. Well, that's not going to work. Might as well go to bed. It helps out. And then have a device curfew. I think that one's huge. I think if nothing else, as like a single point, that really would help. That's a really helpful thing. But the secret parenting tips, tools, and tricks, that is coming, so stay tuned. And I've got some really cool ones, so you definitely want to stick around for that. All right, at this point, do you guys have any questions, any comments, anything? Because we actually got a few minutes to kill before Natalie gets our food, and then we'll have lunch. Again, I've got, I think we're here 5 hours, a lot of time, but I'm certainly not going to be talking, lecturing that entire time. I want feedback from you guys. In worst case, there's not a ton of that, we'll get out early. So, such a